Yeah, cooking show. That's the video. That's what that one's about. It's a cooking show. This is a topic. Obviously, it's one of the more challenging things to express, and that's because, well, I don't know why, but there's theories about external transference or ETs, and uh, that's when you an ET is like anything, like language or whatever, um, and or a model of some kind, where you're taking what's outside and or inside. Something something was making a noise over there. Uh, so there's no inherent meaning to these. Yeah, there's a. What am I trying to say here? This is one of the more challenging things to express. Um, Let me see what I did next. Uh, okay, so everybody knows the handshake. Um, but what else do people know? I mean, you can make a list. There's books with a list. I mean, but that's not the point here. The point is that, well, I think I know what I'm making here, but wow, I'm having trouble talking, but this is better than just making this in the silence. I mean, it could be a lot worse. There's different kinds, so posture is one of them. I think that there's no like 90% of this is unconscious, whereas when you're talking, is it conscious, or do you talk? Okay, I'm doing this in the wrong order here. Um, it's not like I put together a spiel for this. I'm telling you, this is too much sugar, and you need the other kind of sugar. I mean, what can you even say about it? It's just like talking about talking, it doesn't make any sense. But the fact is that because it's something that is it's like a kind of external transference, right? It's an ET, and it's so fundamental to experience that you don't have any language for it. So what's the purpose of giving it a language? I guess is to make it more intentional or something. Give yourself more control over it. And there's this cupboard. I was planning on cleaning it out. That cupboard. There's so much awesome stuff in there. Sometimes I feel like if you just stop going to the store, then okay, it's kind of not coming together, is it? This is awful. I mean, you have to communicate something, right? And okay, so you have like, what are they called? Accompaniment. That's the main kind of it. Also, there's batons, and I mean that's like a kind of accompaniment, but also usually that one has to do with like keeping time and accompaniment. Okay, that's a good one. there's also gestures, but the point is that none of these are discrete from one another. So if somebody comes in and shakes your hand at the beginning of a conversation, then that would make a little more sense than doing it right in the middle. But that, I mean, that's the only one that's like normal. All other kinds of body language, like eye contact and stuff, that has to do with context, or clusters, they're called. This part always takes the longest. I wish that there was some way to speed it up. I mean, do I really wish that? No. I'm kind of enjoying this morning. I was gonna do a video chat, but some people, there's different cultures. Different cultures matter. And in the West and around the whole world, being on time matters. So it isn't like out of the blue for me to say that this is sort of rude. And it is kind of rude to point out gestures and all that. I sincerely think that when you point out some basic kind of like external transference, particularly when somebody is putting themselves out there. I mean, in this book, I found that they defined this sort of sphere, and then there was this person like 100 years ago, because people really thought that gestures were going to take off, and they never did. But he defined like a method for transcribing it. So you have like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, like straightforward, and then you have obverse. I don't know, probably obverse. It is not obverse, by the way. So you have clusters and incongruity. I think that incongruity is probably some part of psychology that is of interest to me, because I keep coming across it. And what it is when you have some congruous structure of some kind, and yeah, anybody involved, I'm going to turn on the oven, knows what's going on with this structure. And when something doesn't fit, then it means something, or is just not meaning anything. But like this, I'm talking about body language, so obviously it makes sense to do a lot of it, but I'm not. Okay, here we go. This is something I actually enjoy thinking about, is all the different faculties of a human being. We have all these senses, like we can sense understanding, we can sense hearing, we could sense conatives are like plans for action. So we can sense all these things. This is almond butter. Wow, it smells like the first time that I ever had almond butter. I actually kind of remember that, because peanut butter it's one of those things that you have so often. It's like all of a sudden there's something incongruous, and you're like, this is not peanut butter. This is incredible. And it isn't even like particularly more expensive. It's just one of those things that some families gotta save every penny, another day. So you have your basic, I feel like I'm yelling, but I feel like I'm not yelling. And then all of a sudden I start yelling. Talking about myself here. That's good though, Maybe I should get a counselor. So 4 becomes 4 senses. Well, really, there's 6 senses. It becomes more because all of a sudden, I actually illustrate it here. There's 1 sense, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can see that as the pattern goes out, then you get even more of them. And this is one of the most ancient things that people. What am I? Whoa! I guess the mouse was. I don't know if you could see the. So something moving around here got my attention, and this is kind of illustrating how a sense can enter here, or maybe it can enter here, but that's only feeling. But also proprioceptive is another sense. That's consciousness of your body. And okay, done. Actually, I'm not done. I'm just done with this. I mean, once you can start on a subject like perception, that's really one of those. It is biology, isn't it? That's what people think, but then psychologists will say, "Oh, it is psychology," and you have to say, "I think you're right." Psychology is about relationships, so like yourself with your sense of hearing, and it isn't as simple anymore. So you can see that once you start going down that on that path, and you end up it goes to all the other paths. So yeah, people use body language oftentimes to wake themselves up, or they'll use it to, because it gets things going again, or they'll use it to, it helps with visual thinking, which is sort of bizarre, but yeah, it helps you, like if you're telling a story that, yeah, cool. Good for you. It's sharing facts. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Pretty much done here. You'd like to think, but I'm not. Oh, what's this? Those are brains. I just kind of stretched it out on the computer so that it filled up the whole bottom, but then it isn't even full screen, so it's like not even that cool. Those are brains, and it's an EEG. They attach electrodes to the brain, or maybe they put them in a machine, and then it can tell when there's some kind of usually sugar burning in the brain, and that's detected as some kind of emission. It's an activity that starts up there, and then mix this up with the caramel, if I still have the caramel. Nope. That's not caramel. Don't want that in there. What are they gonna mix it up with? I guess I'll use the last of the honey. So once you hook up the brain to all that, then you can tell what is. How could I? Okay, I'm gonna do a fun experiment. How can I get all this to sticky on there and make a nice crust, even though there's so much of it. You can see it's maybe if I mix this honey up with some water, just a little bit of water, because I gotta. So this is the first time. This is the second time. You can see that this is really not very focused at all. I guess that it's really not working that well. So there's different kinds of substances. Water, not everything is soluble, water soluble. What are we running at, 15? These videos get so long so fast. So now I'm adding something that's not alcohol. What is this syrup? I don't know. Brown sugar, okay. I don't know what is it. Well, some things are soluble in alcohol. Some things are soluble in different solutions. So it's actually working. And then I'm probably gonna put some more sugar in here too, just so it's more yummy. So yeah, what does that tell you though? I mean, this is just the brain, right? So if you were to, theoretically, you could hook somebody up and have them, you could figure out what's that do with that? Like when that happens, what does this happen? And when you see something, does it make you want to do this? That's like a lot, but well. So yeah, hopefully that makes it all sticky. I mean, it should. It's honey. That would make sense. Ooh. So yeah, when you're talking about all these senses, though, it actually kind of makes life a little bit better. I'm really starting to experience it all. I was stuck. I just realized, because all of a sudden I came into clarity. I was definitely without question, I was just listening to myself. I wasn't observing anything. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, cool, I can see. And so that was good. Good times.